Welcome Capricorn to your Capricorn 2022 annual calendar year reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are stopping by for the first time. And I and the subscribers hope that we see more of you in the future if you are here just for the first time. Now, plenty of people ask me, do I do personal readings? The answer is yes. The information's in the description box below. But now I'm going to draw 12 cards, one for each month of the year. Now, because time is against us in these annual readings, we're going to stick to just the facts. I might use my pen to point out some of the really interesting, well, what I think are some interesting aspects to the paintings on these cards. And because the paintings actually are, I see it with people work on their subconscious, and it's very good for bringing up messages from within people themselves, which is quite interesting. Some people might call it a universal consciousness, which I do actually think there is, incidentally. But otherwise, I'll give you just the facts as I see them, just the facts, Jack, and the astrology that relates to the cards and why they mean what they do. But I've got to tell you, I'm not going to be able to resist pointing out some of the interesting parts of these paintings because they're just beautiful, I think. Anyway, what did we have for the first half of the year? The Four of Coins, the Two of Coins, the Devil, the Six of Swords, the Ace of Coins, the Empress, fantastic first half of the year, the Ten of Cups, the Page of Coins, the Queen of Swords, all green light to go so far in the second half of the year, King of Wands, Ace of Cups. Gee, I think I might come round to your place, stay with you for the year, I think. Hope that some of your good luck rubs off on me. And there's the Ten of Wands. Okay, why don't you come? Now, sit down here next to me. Oh, by the way, I will say that I encourage you to go to the in-depth monthly readings. Did I say that? Which you can find on the playlist on my channel, which has the current month's reading and the month before that, and then they get deleted. Or of course, if you subscribe, then they come straight to you if you choose to do that. But anyway, now, why don't you please, because it is my pleasure, while you and I sit down and look at the artwork on these cards together, I am pleased and proud to provide you with your reading. Right, I see you can see those, I think. Let's have a look at this first card here, shall we? Now, the art on these cards is very important because the artwork will unlock the many emotions and intellectual matters that are imprisoned within your subconscious. Let's have a look here. What do we have? We have what appears to me to be a nun dressed in blue, very happily unwrapping a secret present by the looks of things here. There is a very fine vase on the left-hand side here, which is emitting wondrous vapors. Now there is a flower here that is closed up. In these four coins, this is the chariot of the moon. This is a swan serenely swimming in the moonlight. This is a castle, and this is a strange-looking cat which has been put inside a cage. Now, this is really the Lord of earthly power, you'll be pleased to know, for you in January. It is the sun in the third decan of Capricorn, the 13th to the 21st of January. Now, as you know, you are a feet on the ground, eye on the prize sign. And those, like you, with the sun in Capricorn, have a realistic, grounded approach to life. This is talking about strong foundations here for you moving forward throughout this year. Stability. I think you'll be having a tight rein on the budget at the moment. You may even be quite financially cautious, I think, maybe saving for the future and protecting yourself. But this is talking about you being able to manifest your ideas this year, and you'll have great integrity and character. Let's have a look now at, this might be an interesting card. What's this one? Two of Coins. Now the art on this is quite interesting here. This here is the triumph of Mercury again. This is a library, and there is a quill and a pen. But the most interesting thing here is this naked woman admiring herself in a glass, and these two old men, you see these two older men looking at her? Now this reminds me of the story of Susanna and the Elders. It's a scriptural work. It's not contained in the Hebrew Bible, nor is it contained in Protestant Bibles, but it is contained in Catholic and Orthodox Bibles. The story is that Susanna, who was young and beautiful as she is here, was married to a much older and wealthy man, and in the afternoon she would go into her courtyard with her slave girl to take a bath. One afternoon she dismissed her slave girl and she took a bath by herself, and the old men, who used to always spy on her as she did this, the voyeuristic good-for-nothings, they then, on this day when she got out of the bath, they came down and they said to her, "Look, you better have sex with us or we're going to tell everybody that you have been having intercourse with a young man here in the courtyard." Well, she refused to have any sexual intercourse with them, as you would expect. Anyway, what the old guys did was they went and told everybody the lie. Now, as the story has it, you've heard of the book of Daniel in the Bible. Well, in this case, it was the boy Daniel. The boy Daniel said, "Listen, we better go and make sure that this woman is innocent, and let's question the men independently. They have told us that she had sex under a tree." One of the men was asked, "What type of a tree was it?" And he said, "It was a short tree of a particular kind." The other man was asked, and he said, "It was a huge tree of another kind altogether." And so it was proven that they were lying. They were put to death for their false testimony. She otherwise would have been executed for adultery. She was saved that, of course, and her reputation and honor was restored. Now, this is also an interesting astrology for you. It is Jupiter, this time ruling the first decan of Capricorn, the 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. This is the Lord of harmonious change. Now, although that's potentially inharmonious because Jupiter is all about expansion, and Capricorn, you have to admit, can sometimes be conservative and it's involved with practical things very often, because this is a 2 here and we're high up on the tree, I don't think there's any problem with that. So Jupiter is going to, the great benefic of the astrological zodiac, brings you great good fortune and good luck. Now, there'll be movement, flux, having some ups and downs during the month, but you'll be growing through change. Multitasking is what I see you doing. You'll have quite a heavy workload, but the point is you'll be enjoying your work. And I think you can look forward to a welcome change as you move into a much better phase in your life. It's about change and transformation for you here, and it's all for the good. Let's now have a look at the devil. Let me just see if I can find some points of interest here. First of all, look at the wings that are on the devil, and there's this solar or star really that's there. The wings and the star tell us that he was in fact an angel, Lucifer, the bringer of light, but of course he fell. Now on his chest here actually are female breasts, and that tells us that the devil is both male and female. On the left-hand side here, he's holding a wand or a sword, probably of some type. No hilt to it. That is definitely a sign of rampant sexuality here. And in his right hand here, which is emblazoned with flame, there is the occult sign of greeting. Now here is his red face, of course, is a sign of the fire. The blue here is a sign of water. The scales here are the sign of what I would say is air, and this goat legs you would understand being as an earth sign. the signature of Earth. There is a platform here with fire underneath it, and there are two demons, a green female and a golden male, both tethered, you see, to the platform on which the devil stands. And the background here is probably buildings and a landscape of which the devil gets up to no good. The Lord of the Gates of Matter. That's what I call him. Now, is this a bad card for you? No, actually, it's a very good card. Now, what is interesting is for the first 3 months of the year, this has been a Capricorn card, that's a Capricorn card, and this devil card is Capricorn as well. It is Saturn ruling Capricorn with Mars exalted, but really Mars being shown here in its best form of the fiery material energy of creation. Now, this card can represent tunnel vision, and the devil's gaze is usually directed at some material goal. Now, it can relate to career, ambition, and even looking after your own best interests. And it implies that you can accomplish much if you are focused. And the devil isn't distracted by anything else. He's focused, and he's really only focused on those things that are there to sign. Now, astrologically, of course, your sign refers to business, career, worldly success, and social standing. And I think that you will be building those things which are giving rise to that. Now, there's a great degree of procreative energy around here. This is, of course, coming from this rampant sexuality, which is coming from this thing here. New vitality, humor, I think you'll have during this time, and a great degree of sensuality. You'll be very interested in making sure that your five senses are satisfied, I think. It's a highly sexual card, but there's a great degree of creative energy and individuality, I think. Now, there's blind impulse at this time, and I've got to tell you that at this time, other people, you are going to exude sexual magnetism at this period, and I've got to tell you that other people are going to find you very sexually attractive. Now, do with that what you may. I'm sure you'll be able to manage it one way or another. Let's have a look at this one here. The Six of Swords. Well, here we have 6 swords which are arranged in a pattern which is reminiscent of a mandala. Now, those things are geometrical patterns familiar and used in Tibetan Buddhism for the most part, that one focuses on in order to have meditation. Now, in the center of the card here is an illumination. This is the 6. Now, I very much have associated with the 6, and I see it being this illumination here. I have associated with the 6 in the center of this Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, and Vishnu consciousness. The hilts of the swords they're messages, they're letters really, aren't they? And they're tied off with black ribbon. And I think what's happened is that this is Saint Paul, and he was on the road to Damascus when he fell off his horse, blinded by the presence of the divinity, and his horse reared up in shock at the same time. Now, what's interesting about this also is that it is Mercury ruling the second decan of Aquarius, that 30th of January to the 9th of February, that is the time frame for that decan. Now, the air planet of Mercury finds itself in the fixed sign of air, which is Aquarius. Now, actually, this is a really good thing, because in ordinary astrology, Mercury happens to be exalted in Aquarius, and that highlights the intellectual qualities of this card. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, as you may know. It's not a water sign, as many people think. It's an air sign, which is detached and intellectual by nature. And Mercury's ability to analyze brings a clear perspective to you going forward. Now, the astrology suggests a somewhat detached but balanced assessment of a situation is needed. You need to analyze something without bias and without too much emotion to get the best result. Now, Aquarius is also the sign of innovation and originality, and so this can also represent you communicating ideas that are new or even unconventional in a very orderly way. You'll have the ability to analyze, to unify ideas. There's an all-encompassing vision around here, almost like an all-embracing understanding and a great degree of objectivity. Shall we have a look at this one, which is here? See what there is. Lovely. Well, immediately we see like a cherub blindfolded with this red ribbon, winged, holding up this coin. There are a couple of flowers growing beneath it. Now look at all the roots growing off the bottom of this coin. This suggests to me this is life that's going on in here. And this suggests that the world and everything in it, even inanimate objects, are alive and part of universal creation. Now, what we have here is, in the beginning here, there is a chest full of treasure, and naked woman, queen, and a naked king lying down next to each other, eating grapes. There is, what's on the side? These trees here, fruit trees there, they'd be from the Garden of Hesperides. There's a man playing a flute. There is a child happily playing, another one happily playing there. And there's an ox and a lamb lying down with one another there. There's the ox's head, and there's the little lamb. And there's a couple dancing here. There's naked people dancing beneath this statue of a golden, well, it's a golden calf, I would assume, because this is really like a golden age that's going on here. And on top of the golden calf is Hathor, the Egyptian goddess, Hathor, goddess of love and sexual enjoyment. Now, what can we say about this? I think that the people who are going to be important to you during this time are Taurus, Gemini, and Aries. This is the beginning of something really tangible for you. It's coming along and it's moving with this theme of prosperity and growth, the material abundance, improving finances. I think it's possible that you may have a promotion or a pay rise if you're involved in the workforce. If you're not involved in the workforce, I think you are going to receive a lot of recognition for the things that you do within your home and within the community. There's good luck here, and I think that there could well be here some unexpected money coming in your way. Great success associated with this. The unification of body and soul, material and spirit, heaven and earth, wholeness. That's what this is talking about. What a really great energy for you. Such a good year for you. Can I come and stay at your place? I think some of your good luck to rub off on me. What do we have here? Now this is of course the Empress, and here she sits majestically on a throne whose back forms a Gothic arch. Can you see the way this is arching around at the back there like that? And it's with wings and a blue sky, and it's all blue skies for you during this month. Now on her head is a crown with 9 stars for the 9 muses of music, poetry, and science, and 12 stars for the 12 houses of the zodiac. Now her gown is red for passion, tempered by cool blue, which flows around her like fertile waters. Now she holds a shield, doesn't she? And that's emblazoned with the imperial eagle that's there. And on her left hand is a scepter topped with an orb. You might see it just running along like this. There's the scepter and there's the orb at the top of it there. Now the platform on which she's seated, it shows, I think, I'm just wondering what these things are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 1, 2, 3. These 7 things going from left to right are I'd say the 7 liberal arts of grammar, logic, rhetoric, geometry and arithmetic, music and poetry. and then up the side, philosophy, astrology, and theology, and at her feet is a crescent moon, and a lily at the side of the throne there, which is all about denoting her purity. Now, the daughter of the mighty ones is what I call her. This is, I think, now I'm getting a feeling of pregnancy around here, being in touch with the beauty of your life, perhaps exploring a relationship with your mother, or you being a mother, or acting as a mother figure to someone. You could also, because it's sitting next to this ace here, and because that devil was androgynous earlier, I think it could also be that you have things to do with your father, or act as a paternal figure, a paternal figure to someone else. You'll definitely be very empathetic and caring during this time, and it reminds you that spirituality is expressed from the heart and not from the head. Beauty, love, parental, motherliness, fatherliness. There's a good degree of femininity also coming through here. The lady's femininity is going to be in full bloom during this period. Great fertility around here as well, if you're planning a family or if you're waiting for grandchildren. I think it's also talking about you being able to fulfill your potential, and perhaps if you're interested in a business opportunity, it may well be that a successful business opportunity does turn up. Let's see what there is down here. This is the Ten of Cups. Let's look at it. Good. Well, here are the 10 cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this 10th cup down here, this is like the entryway, allowing you to get across this moat, which is around the city, I suppose. And here is a doorway to a cup or a building on which there is a fountain with a person standing on top of it there. Actually, it's a couple. And I suppose, given its renaissance, it would be a married couple, partnered couple. It could be today, but certainly a married couple back then, although there were plenty of illicit affairs. In the center here, this is the main temple here, I'd say, with this thing coming up the top and the fountain pouring over it, and this is the entrance to it. The other buildings are in good. Now there's construction going on here. Here's a crane, and there's sidings going on here, which is talking about a prosperous city in which there's new work being done. This is actually good because it is the Lord of perfected success for you, and it is Mars ruling the third decanate of Pisces coming in here. Now, very often Mars can be disruptive, and it might be thought to, I'd say, conflict with peaceful Pisces, but it's not the case here, not in this spread. This is talking about emotional stability. Somebody may well find their dream home during this period. There's a happy family unit. Your dreams are becoming a reality. There's satisfaction here, emotional satisfaction, emotional fulfillment. And that fulfillment and beauty that's there with you is going to be radiating out to other people during this period. And again, I get that feeling of you being very attractive to other people. Good luck with that. Well, here we have the page of coins standing on a ground here which is full of trash, which has been left behind by these revelers, obviously on a feast day or a special holiday, and they're still dancing and drinking away there in the background. Where might that be? Hard to say. Could be, looking at the architecture, it might have been Venice from those times. Now here is a figure of someone that's in a military uniform. Over the back here is a satchel with books. Also hanging from the side is some sort of a bugle or a horn. Those musically inclined would understand what that is. This is a signature here of the triumph of Jupiter. On the very floppy hat here, he has coins emblazoned on the top of his hat there, being the page of coins. Now, the people who are going to be important to you are Taurus, Gemini, and Aries during this period here. This is somebody who will be perceived as being beautiful. Again, I'm getting pregnancy around here and birth. There's certainly maybe a connection with Mother Earth I think you might find during this period. I think you'll enjoy nature and getting out and about. This is definitely speaking very much of renewal and success in really all the areas of your material life. Let's have a look at her. Here we have the Queen of Swords, the Queen of the Thrones of the Air, and she's sitting atop of a rather Gothic column here. Now, there's some interesting things going on below her. You see that there? That looks like a naked witch flying on a broomstick. That's another one there. There's a couple of black horses that look like they could be carried. It's obscured by this column, but carrying some sort of probably a funeral carriage back in those days. These figures here, they look like Ku Klux Klan type figures. Now, she's holding in her right hand, and the Queen herself is very twisted around, notice? She's holding a sword in her right hand, but look how long and spindly her fingers are. The sword's hilt is topped with a swan, and she has a snake coiled around her arm there. The head, there's a black netting which is also all over her arm, and it goes up through her body and up through her head, which you can see that black netting there. 2 crescent moons on her, and her face is, well, very aristocratic, I would say, is it not? What might that thing be? Is that anything? Oh, that might just be a rock or something like that. Now, this is I'm getting a lot of Libra around here, and I'm getting a lot of Virgo around it. Why might that be the case for you? Why am I getting all that energy there? Well, I think that her association with Libra for you might connect her to balance, to adjustment, to balancing off things. This is, I think, for you, all about making clear decisions at this time based on fact and fairness, pretty similar to the Queen of Swords herself. Now, court cards can, of course, be both male or female, irrespective, but I'll refer to her as a woman for the obvious reason. You'll be someone who is seen as being graceful, very perceptive, a keen observer, a subtle interpreter, intensely individualistic at this time, I think, and you will be confident and gracious. I think you're also going to be going through the process of cutting through old masks and roles, or more particularly, actually identifying yourself in situations where you put on a mask or you put on a role. So you're not necessarily going to discard them, but almost like an actor will put on the mask or put on the costume to play the particular role. And I think you'll be doing very well at that. This is a time when you'll have great clarity. You'll be very rational, quite intellectual, I think, and very objective. Very interesting period here. Now here comes this King of Wands. What do you have to say for us, King? Well, he looks like a very rustic character, doesn't he? His throne is made from, it looks like pickaxes, some old boards, and a few like just logs strewn together. On top of it are rushes, which are put in that cross on the top, and on top of which burns a candle. You'll be able to see the candle there. Now his crown is wrought with copper, and it's in the shape of acorns. Now, of course, he's in a suit of wands and fire, so of course we'd expect him to be sort of red-headed, wouldn't we? In fact, his armor is that red copper color as well. Now, what's interesting is that down the bottom here, there is like a brazier roasting some chestnuts. Here there is, and good to see, a great big tankard of beer. And here, there's peculiarly, there looks to be some sort of a Japanese lamp. And in the background, there are the colors of fall in the light in the afternoon of fall. Now, I call him the Lord of Flames and Lightning. And I'm getting Sagittarius around here. I'm getting Scorpio around here. This is a time when you'll be very active, when you'll be generous. You might be impetuous, actually. Now, you'll have a degree of pride, so don't let that turn into arrogance. Just have pride in yourself. Now, I think that you'll be very fast the way you come to decisions and in the actions that you take. And those actions, they actually could be unpredictable. People might think that's a very unpredictable type of thing to do there. And there's almost like a degree of fierceness around you at the moment. There's dynamic forward motion going on here, increased insight. Now there are some coming changes. You may well be engaged in travel during this period here. You will be energetic and ambitious, adventurous, very determined, and charming and magnetic. And that magnetism is going to be hard to resist. You are going to have a great year when it comes to interpersonal relationships, I think. And sometimes there can be, I think, within you, maybe the thoughts of becoming a budding entrepreneur with a small business of some degree or other. What's this one? Is that the Ace of Cups? Yeah. Well, again, a very interesting painting here. Now, cups, of course, is water, and here we have shards of ice, the frozen aspect, or the solid form of water, which doesn't appear to be of any concern at all to this tabby cat, who is lying on the ice, feeding 3 young kittens. Now, as we go up this stem here, we have a shell with a pearl in the middle of it. The shell seems to be made of, then the stem seems to be made of a serpent's tail, tortoise shell, and there's a red heart that's there as well. On the sides here, underneath the container, there are swan wings and lots of fruit. Now this is a hexagonal, 6-sided thing here. 6 is, I think as I mentioned before, an association with divinity, with Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Christ, the divinity itself, Yahweh. Now, that is full of water, of course. Now, on top here, there is a mother who is feeding 2 infants, one on either breast, and she is being protected. She's trampling on a snake, which is in the water, but she's been protected by 2 dolphins, which have a horn on them. Now, on the top here is a dove, and what I could only assume is the Holy Spirit, which is pecking itself and letting drops of blood, the divine blood, come down and go all the way throughout all of life itself. Now this is the root of the power of waters. Now Sagittarius, again, going to be important to you, I think. Scorpio and Libra as well. Now the aces are the seeds of the element that they represent, and therefore the cup suits embodies the experiences of relationships, the pursuit of happiness, love, fulfillment, pleasure. But of course we can't have any of these experiences without the opposite things as well. But you will find love in its purest sense. There's some abundance around here. There's a possibility of a new relationship. Now, that doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a business relationship, a social relationship. A great degree of sensual passion around here that may be played out physically or it may be played out in fantasy life. Either one is fine. Now, emotional balance is available for you to be used now and drawn upon, I think, for the next year. There's emotional clarity in any event with you and a deep love of the self, which is important, and you'll understand the great joy in giving and in receiving. What do we have here? This is December now. What do we have in December? Well, this is an interesting scene. What do you think is going to happen here? Here are two merchants. You can see their hats. There's the one and there's the other. They've each got a mule which is overburdened, which is flowing, which the mules are carrying what's obviously bags full of gold and precious wares, and they're making their way down through this road. Now, waiting for them are 10 bandits, and the bandits themselves are holding clubs. You see these here, and they've got these iron rings around the bottom of the clubs. And so I think that they could well be, it could be potentially that they are set upon, but nothing in life is certain. Now, what can we say about the energy of this for you? Well, I've got Saturn ruling the third decan of Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants to expand and express its optimism and its spiritual side, and Saturn can be about restriction, and so it represses the expansive nature of Sagittarius that's here. I get the feeling that you may find that you are, at this time of year, that you've taken on too much, maybe to the extent where you feel that you're overburdened by things. Things could be very busy for you. You'll be feeling the pressure. No control over circumstances is what you think that you might be subject to, but you do have more control over the circumstances than you think you do. You might also be a victim of your own success, but it also talks to me of problems that are soon to be resolved. You might be striving to meet a goal or to maintain a certain level of performance or a certain position. Now, I've got to say here, and I will say it to you because I will be frank, and it is that there is a possibility here that you could be using power for selfish ends. So just be aware of that. Anyway, what a fantastic spread of cards for you, and that's the way it is for you this year. Well, I thought that was fascinating, didn't you? It looks like you're going to have a fantastic year ahead of you, probably your best year ever, if I'm any judge of these things. Oh, I think you've got everything going for you, and so you should have too. Now remember, I want to see you in the monthly readings, so don't miss out on those. They're far more in depth than what we've just done now. But until then, remember one thing, and remember it always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, it's bye for now.